There we go. Alright, cool. Let's see. I should be able to pop this out somewhere. There we go. So do that. And now I can make that go there so I can see what I'm doing over here. I'll make that a little bit smaller. There we go. That works. Alright folks, just getting my squares all signed up and ready to go here. Alright, so, hey, Super Dave. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another night of the world famous Rich Wilson Show. That's right, new for 2022. Yeah, it's not, I wasn't sure we were going to get here. But hey, we're here, and I figure I have nothing better to do, so why don't we just start the show back up again? Because God knows I tried to do it over and over and over and over again, and so irregular, it's crazy. But we're here, and y'all are here, so what do you say, without further ado, we still got, actually technically 1 minute before the show goes live, so it's kind of like the pre-show kind of thing for a minute. So hope you guys enjoy the experience tonight. It should be interesting. We've got a couple things to cover tonight. And I'm probably going to get myself banned from YouTube. So, go figure. So a few things happened in the last couple days, and I'm going to cover tonight. So, what do you say we get this show rolling, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the one and only Rich Wilson Show. Starting tonight with our top story tonight, Deltacron, is it real? Now I know you're thinking to yourself, what the hell is Deltacron, right? Well, this past weekend it was trending pretty big on Twitter. And I know, the people out there in this world that eats Tide Pods think it's a legitimate thing, but it's not. And let me explain to you why. Alright, so this coming from she's a virologist. Pretty much you can take a moment to read it. I'll go through it real quick with you. As much as I can, I'll try to read this. I'm in the dark. So some experts have cast doubt over the findings, with One World Health Organization official tweeting Sunday that Deltacron, which was trending on social media platforms this weekend. I hate saying the WHO because I don't want to tie in the band. COVID expert Dr. Krutika Kupali, ma'am, I apologize if I trashed your name, said on Twitter that in this case, there was likely to have been a lab contamination of Omicron fragments in the Delta specimen. Okay, so I've got a couple slides and then I'll discuss this with you. Global experts are casting doubts over a report of a new possible COVID-19 mutation that appeared to be a combination of both the Delta and Omicron variants, dubbed as Deltacron, saying it was more likely that the strain is the result of a lab processing error. Yeah, good lord. I just came to this realization that that thing takes up a lot more space than I thought it did. At the weekend, it was reported that researcher in Cyprus had discovered a potential new variant. This was according to Bloomberg News on Saturday. Leondios Kostikis, I guess, professor of biological science at the University of Cyprus, had called the strain Deltacron because of its Omicron-like genetic signatures within the Delta genomes. Krostrikis and his team said they had found 25 cases of mutation, with report adding that at this time it was too early to tell whether there was more cases of the apparent new strain or what impact it could have. Bloomberg reported that the findings had been sent to GISAID, an international database that tracks and changes the virus, on January 7th. Okay. Another tweet, she noted, let's not merge the names of infectious diseases and leave that to celebrity couples. Other scientists have agreed that the findings could be the result of lab errors, with virologist Dr. Tom Peacock from the Imperial College London also tweeting the Cypriot Deltacron sequences reported by several large media outlets look to be quite clearly contamination. In another tweet he noted, quite a few of us have had a look at the sequences and of course have come to the same conclusion: it doesn't look like a real recombinant, referring to a possible rearrangement of genetic material. Alright, so what do you need to know? Well, this is what you need to know. Deltacron is not real. Okay, people may try to say that it's real, but it's not. And so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. Why is that? Okay. Error. Please use keyframe frequency for 4 seconds or less. What? I'm getting these weirdo warnings from YouTube. I don't know what they are. So anyway, so it's not real. It was a screw up in a lab that somebody decided to put out there. And don't worry about it. Okay? Now, am I going to tell you not to worry about other parts of it? No. Why? I know I've had it 3 times. Okay. It's nothing to screw around with. If you could take all the precautions necessary, please by all means do. It's still popping up a warning on there. Super Dave, since you're watching, just hit me up in the chat room. Let me know you can see everything fine. YouTube keeps popping up this weird ass warning. I don't know what about. But take all the precautions necessary: social distancing, masking, all the stuff that you need to do. I'm not going to be the one to tell you to not do that. That's all a matter of personal choice. But if anybody tries to tell you that Deltacron's a thing, just don't listen to them. It was an accident. They contaminated some samples, and and that's it. And their 2 viral was contamination. Okay. All right. So don't worry about it. It's not that it's not a thing, and you don't need to worry about it. All right. So let's move on with our second story, because I don't really want to dwell on that too long. Anyway, AOC's series of unfortunate events. So, it's still from YouTube. AOC decided to, and by the way, credit New York Post for some of the information on this. Well, let's talk about what happened. So AOC first passed along her a proxy vote authorization to a member of the squad, and said that because of everything that's going on, and she doesn't feel safe going to the Capitol, and gave a proxy vote so she could sneak off to Florida to go on vacation. And then and of course, then again, everybody made these big to-dos about it, and that was enough. Okay, that by itself, whatever. But then she came out with that tweet that said the only reason why Republicans have a problem with this is because they just want to date me. Now, I'm not even to discuss her boyfriend's sandal choice. But yeah, so evidently that was a problem for her. And she said, well, Republicans only pick on her just because they want to date her. So she took it from one level, but she took it from normal to a level of creepy that we really shouldn't have gone down. And then, photographs of her seen in public with no mask on. She went to a fundraiser, another photograph, no mask on. And then, lo and behold, gets back home and tests positive for COVID. And it's like, really? What happened? Maybe you shouldn't have been playing hooky and got caught. Because, that's literally what it was. Any one of us in our jobs. Blah, blah, blah. And then a photo leaks out that we're on vacation in some other place. We wouldn't have a job to come back to. But don't worry about it. She'll have a job to come back to. She'll get reelected. And still going to have to deal with her anyway. But anybody else, that would have spelled the end of your career. The other problem, and then of course that creepiness of Republicans only have a problem with them because they want to date me. I don't think there's that many of them out there that want to date you. Because every time you say something, now this is an opinion of mine, this is not fact, although I would argue, every time you open your mouth, I lose so much. And so, no, wouldn't want to date you. It's not as many people as you think. And, you can go you could be narcissistic and think that everybody wants you all you want. But you didn't have to take it to that level of creepy. Just saying. But yeah, so she got COVID. Seen in Florida when she was supposed to be at home because that's what she claimed she was doing. And seen out in public with people without a mask on. Now, everybody argued the one where she was at the cafe, she was eating, even though there was no food on the table. But I don't care, personally. And caught at a function with a bunch I have with this situation. But it is what it is. So, yeah, it's AOC's series of unfortunate events. Which one is this one? Oh, yes. So, by the way, did you see the jobs numbers came out today? I know there's a whole lot of speculation on this. And this and that and this and that. But I'm not a fan. And I think that's what this one is about. Is that what this next one is? That was that one. That's that one. Okay, yeah. Because I got two topics I really want to get into tonight. I really want to get into. The other two, I don't want to talk about a variant that's a mistake, and I don't want to talk about AOC. Okay. So it's like, yeah, he's got to fly through these subjects. Well, because I really wanted to get to these. So first of all, this information came out today, and this was from the White House. Jobs created by the president, average per month. And then, of course, the source is U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. According to this, Joe Biden has created per month over 550,000 jobs. Okay? Donald Trump cost jobs per month. Right? Well, and of course the other one, I really do. I call crap because, well, please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less currently. What the? Okay, I'm trying to figure out what this means. Yeah, okay, so there's going to be some buffering. Okay, I got you. I don't think I can change those while I'm midstream. I don't believe I can. I will try, because it says I'm set to 8 seconds. I can't change any of that. So, sorry about your luck. I don't know. Like I said, YouTube keeps opening up these I keep getting these warning signs. It's weird. I haven't gotten them before. I'll have to take a look at this and see how that's working out. But let's say, so anyway, once again, so yes, it's absolute bullshit. Okay, Joe Biden hasn't created over 550,000 new jobs. Okay, but that's what the White House is telling you. It's a load of crap. Okay, and let me explain to you why. Let's see if I got these in the right order. Okay. U.S. Department of Labor, over the past 3 months, we've added an average of 365,000 jobs to the economy. These steady and consistent gains show that we're moving towards full and inclusive recovery even when we continue to be negative to get tested on this. The latest jobs report shows gains and the lowest unemployment rate since the start of the pandemic. 199,000 jobs added, 3.9% unemployment rate. But once again, that last statement, the lowest since the start of the pandemic. Okay, once again, that's very important here. 84% of the jobs lost in the pandemic have been recovered. Starting to make sense to you now? Okay, so I'm going to leave that one up there. The reason why that one's important. Okay, is because here's the thing. As soon as I can find that's not the one I needed. There we go. That's the one I needed. The reason why I'm going to leave that up there and it's important is because 84% of the jobs lost in the pandemic have been recovered. Already existed. Okay, he didn't create new jobs, that many new jobs. Okay, so if you actually go back and now with that context in place, we put this back up. Joe Biden is actually lower than Obama. Now here's the thing is, they try to say that the total, this is where this number is skewed and where people should not buy into this, the way that it's posted, okay, is because it says Trump is below zero. Because they're accounting for all the jobs that got lost because of the pandemic before he left office, okay, on January 20th. So if you take the total numbers of jobs lost because of the pandemic versus the jobs he created during his 4 years in office, it's a negative number. But jobs created a hair under Bill Clinton, maybe just a hair over Bill Clinton, Biden would be under the line at zero, would be below zero, actually. But because of how they're spinning this is how they're spinning this. And I spent a lot of the day reading the numbers. All of this is backed by the Department of Labor. Let's see, there was the Department of Labor, I believe. BLS.com. And they flooded social media and the major networks with these different numbers, okay, of, not agricultural versus not this or that or this. There was like 13 different things that they popped up in order to make this a thing. But the problem is you still can't hide the fact that it existed. So he didn't create that many jobs. And in fact, when he stepped into office, he cost quite a few jobs by some of the things that he did. So his numbers actually, when you put all the numbers on paper and you do all the numbers, and God, I hope you never do, because it's a pain in the ass, the number actually comes to a negative. Unemployment rate is the lowest it's been in 4 years. That's not, or since the pandemic started. That's if you take jobs that now completely don't exist out of the equation and people that are no longer filing for unemployment, then yes, those numbers are 3.9%. Okay, because they don't put into, well, these were, what they do is they look at the unemployment and who stopped filing for unemployment. They don't look at, see, that's the other thing that they don't tell people is they don't actually look at people that are working. They do that based off of unemployment claims numbers. Okay? And believe it or not, there's a lot of people who will drop off of the unemployment rolls because they can't get unemployment any longer. There's a lot of people that retired in the last year. I did. So I'm not going to show as part of the unemployed number because I didn't file for unemployment because I retired. So it's a big difference. So if you take everybody that retired that's not filing for unemployment and put them as unemployed, that number actually goes up. If you take the number of people that if labor and statistics would actually find out, okay, well, Joe Smith stopped filing for unemployment. Hey, let's contact him and find out if he got a job, because then we could have accurate numbers. It is just absolutely asinine that you're going to try to front that as reality, because nothing on Joe Biden is that reality. Because like I said, over 80% of that number is jobs that already existed. Nothing was created. With the people we've got in this country and what the unemployment rate was, if you're still creating that many jobs per month, there are no unemployed people left in the period of, and I did the numbers on this, 3.5 months later, there would. So then where's the problem? Okay, it's because those are jobs that already existed. They were jobs that were shut down at the beginning of the pandemic. Jobs that were shut down for a while during the pandemic and are starting to come back online. And have been coming during his 4 years in office. But we're not going to give him the credit for those jobs. No, Biden's going to take them all. Why? Because Biden has a less than 40% approval rating. So we have to stick to whatever the hell we can. It's unfortunate because it's a lie. And it is. It is complete fabrication. The Department of Labor puts these numbers out, and the administration has spun it in every different direction, and the Department of Labor turned around and put a whole bunch of other stuff out, trying to confuse people on what it actually means. So like I said, I'm telling you, how they come up with these numbers is they take a look at the unemployment claims filed, any new unemployment claims that are filed, versus claims that have been dropped and dropped out. They don't take into account people that have retired from the workforce. That are not filing for unemployment. They don't take into account for people who no longer qualify for unemployment because they've been on it for too long and they've lost it, because a lot of states have a limit and they're gone now. They just listed as, well, they're not filing for unemployment again, so they must have a job. No, they don't. There's a lot of people that can't file for unemployment any longer. They still don't have a job. We haven't created, what was the numbers again? I don't bring the numbers back up. Okay, so in the month of, in 200,000 jobs created in the month of December, and 365,000 jobs per month. Okay. And I'm a little off on my numbers. Actually, I was looking at the numbers over here. It would take about 2.5 years at that rate to end joblessness. That includes homeless people getting jobs. Okay, sorry about that. Miscue on reading the numbers, I'm sitting in the dark. But it's absolutely inaccurate. These numbers are nowhere close. Every single time you're going to believe it, and a lot of times it's bullshit. Because this is how they take that into account. New unemployment claims and unemployment claims that have gone away. And then they take those numbers and correlate it and factor it in and say, well, this is how many jobs. Okay? They don't actually look at people who register. There's no database where these people register how many jobs they've filled and how many jobs they have open and all this that they go to. They literally look at unemployment claims versus new unemployment claims versus ones that's dropped off. And that's where they get their numbers. It's never right. But I can tell you right now in this country, for all the people that are refusing to go to work because they don't feel that they're getting paid properly, and they're not going to go back to work because they don't want to work for slave wages, we have not created 365,000 jobs a month. The jobs that are coming back out there mainly are the ones that were there before. Biden didn't create new jobs. Okay? Not at that level. It's complete and total garbage. And if anybody's going to buy into that, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to explain it to you. But it's not right. And it's complete crap. And of course the media's running nuts with it, going, oh, we've created all these jobs. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. As soon as I saw the numbers this morning, I was like, oh, that's a load of crap. You know, the economy currently, but yet somehow we created 650,000 new jobs. How's the economy on a downward spiral if we have 365,000 new jobs every single month? That's 365,000 people that weren't working that are working now in a brand new job that didn't exist before. Why is the economy tanking? The economy should be taking off. Oh, wait a minute. It's because people just went from getting unemployment back open again, so nothing has changed. Except the government's not paying them now. That's the only thing that's changed. Now they're just making money at a job. So I hope you guys understand where I'm coming at this. I'm trying to make this as easy to understand as humanly possible, because this is just asinine. Every bit of this is asinine. That they're trying to front this as fact. It's not. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And I will tell you right now, if the head of the Department of Labor was sitting in my studio right now, I'd look right at them and tell them that they're full of shit. Because you cannot get an accurate number based on that. It's impossible to get an accurate number, especially right now. And then to sit there and say that the president created these? It's kind of like the CDC lady. Can you tell me how many of these jobs existed prior to the pandemic versus the ones that were created after the pandemic started? They're like brand new jobs? No. I didn't think so. Like I said, if they were here, I would tell them to their face. I've never believed the job numbers, ever. You have to, in order to really start to get real numbers, you have to go state to state to state, and you have to go through the business, through their corporate licensing and all that the business licensing and everything else to find out tax rating is versus their level of employment on their EINs and all this other stuff. I mean, it's insane to go through. You could do it, but it's a complete pain in the ass. And it's like I said, that's the basic rundown of how they do it, and those numbers aren't accurate. And like I said, they don't take into account the jobs that already existed prior to COVID, and they're trying to say the president created all that. Like, according to that list, he's the greatest president that ever lived because he's created more jobs than any president in history, which that's completely wrong. That's bullshit. Okay. I'll get off my rant now, and now let's move on to something else. This is probably what more than likely will get me kicked from YouTube. But we got to talk about it. The White House and the CDC backpedaling. Here's the reason why. First of all, the CDC director can't say how many of the 836,000 deaths are from COVID and how many are with COVID. Now, of course, the source of this is from Daily Wire. The CDC director was interviewed and couldn't make that determination. Okay, and then this. The CDC director said over 75% of COVID deaths occurred in people with at least 4 comorbidities. Since, and of course this is an opinion line on the second sentence, or the next sentence, which is, since Biden can't shut down COVID, suddenly all this data is getting shared. But the CDC is telling everybody now what other people were saying back in the beginning of all this, and they were banned. They had their social media pages kicked out because they said this very thing that the CDC is now saying publicly. And back then, all these people were listed as kooks, whack jobs, people that are harming people, they're doing no good, blah, 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 you name it. But now the CDC is saying this stuff, so when are people going to get their accounts back? They're not. They're not going to get their accounts back, and most of the people that got their accounts back went to GETTR anyway, along with Joe Rogan and all the people that were on this website. But I'm being for real. The crap the CDC said today about over 75% of the people that died had at least 4 morbidities or higher. That's what people were saying before. Your chance of it is higher based on the morbidities that you have. And now the CDC says this. So I don't think my count will get destroyed because I'm just saying what the CDC said. But people lost their accounts, got banned from social media sites for saying this very thing. So is Twitter and Facebook going to remove the CDC's Facebook and Twitter page? Probably not, huh? No, I didn't think so. And that's the thing. People were accused. Hell, even I said it. And I was accused of making the situation worse, not taking this seriously, putting people in harm, stuff like that. I was accused of these things. Every bit of it. Seriously. Right there. And then you can't say, and the reason why I say this is because I'll tell you a story. A lady who he was in the hospital before all this crap hit, and ended up in a coma prior to all this, right? He'd been in a coma for a little while. Well, in the midst of the initial breakout and the pandemonium, he ends up passing away. On his death certificate, it has COVID. He may not have contracted it while he was in the hospital. It's very possible. But there was no distinction, and now the CDC even admits they can't tell you the difference between them. Which, that's a big thing. That's what's bad about this, is that's a very big thing. It's a very big responsibility on their behalf to make sure that they're putting that information out there correctly, and people, just hanging on to every word that comes out of them, including the President of the United States. And then we find out later that they have no clue, and then they find out. Like I said, it's nuts. I mean, I don't know where else to go with this. In all honesty, I really don't. And of course, you know, I've been researching I've watched her interview on Good Morning America at least 30 times today. I've watched it on other forums. I've even watched videos she's got on the CDC Twitter page. Some of my information came from the CDC Twitter page and the CDC's website itself. Literally, she can't separate the numbers. That's in place to keep people as safe as possible, has no idea what the numbers really mean anymore. That's scary. Joe, I found very disturbing. And in some of the conversations and the topics I'm seeing that are popping up on social media pages, people talking about the end of democracy, the end of the country, and it's all falling apart, and people are calling for civil war and all this shit. People would stop trying to step on each other and find some common ground. But there's a lot of people that are not. The only thing I could tell you is that's not the answer. And I pray that doesn't happen. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't want to see it. Quote, a wise man once said, let's be grateful that war is so horrible that we shall never grow fond of it. Just because you're not getting your way in the political circles does not mean that war is inevitable. Does not mean doomsday. Does not mean the world is coming to an end. He says, I was born in the 50s. He said, in every decade, whichever group doesn't get what it wants, it's doomsday. It's the end of the republic as we know it. It's the end of democracy, and it's going to be a civil war. And he said every decade. It's different group, same shit. You know, the way everybody keeps talking about it, I don't like the fact that it's just getting thrown around casually now like it's dinner conversation with some friends over. Should never just be dinner conversation over a bottle of wine. Well, what are we going to do in the Great Civil War? Do you know when the first is out to the battlefield and they set up a lunch and made a thing out of it because they figured it'd be over by about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon? There's some people that regretted that decision. Should never be taken lightly. These words shouldn't be thrown around like it's, well, I think I'll go to the gas station, pick up some smoke, some beer, and go join the Civil War. It's not like a trip to the fucking pharmacy. This is for real. A lot of the people that I see throwing the words around like it's casual, not veterans. Talk to a veteran that's been in combat. Find out if they want to see that happening here. Don't think so. I don't speak for them all. Speak for me. No. Find out why. And don't listen to Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, or any of those morons. Go talk to people. Go talk to people. You'll find out, actually, in the long run, that people aren't as hateful as you're told they are. You'll find out people aren't as unforgiving as you were told they are. You'll find out that a lot of people have the same commonalities and thought processes, unlike what you were told they were. See, that is where that whole ideology of civil war, like it's nothing, will get brought to an end, is when people actually just stop listening to the, and they're getting paid good money to divide you. Go talk to people. Put the phone down and go talk to people. You'll find out you don't have as many differences as you thought you did. People in the North will find out they don't have that many differences as the people in the South. Or the people in the East versus the people in the West. You know, Dr. No says East, West, North, South. It's just points on a compass. It means nothing. It's true. It's just directions. Just talk to people. You'll find out it's not like you were told it was. I close this off on a somber note. Trying to remember what it was, and I can't. Drawing a blank on this. I went so long with that I forgot what the other thing I was going to... Usually I have notes written somewhere. Tonight. With you guys out there in the land. Like I said, I don't know why I still keep getting these pop-up warnings from YouTube. I don't know what their deal is. I guess they don't like running... for some reason, I guess they're having an issue with OBS. I guess OBS is not as much as it wants it to. I don't know. It says I'm running at 3,000... at over 3,000 bits. It's telling me that, you know, but it's saying that I need 4 on a late. I don't know what that means. I just hope you guys are able to see this. And hopefully I helped out. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. I know there's one thing I forgot to do, folks. By the way, if you happen to like this, you know, the other side. It's over there. Click that subscribe button, hit the notification so you know every time I'm on, and please share this, like it. Share it to Facebook. I don't know if I'd share it to Twitter or not. You'd probably get your account banned. But if you could do the favor and do it, that'd be great. Then you know every time I come on, which a lot of people will tell you, well, it's sporadic as shit. Sometimes he's on regularly, and then sometimes you don't hear from him for a couple of months. I'm going to try to get back to regularity on the show. I'm really hoping soon I can get my radio show back as well. Who knows? But folks, let's go ahead and go into the last thing I have about tonight. So anyway, as you heard 2 days ago, we lost Bob Saget. Everybody knew him as kind of like American's dad throughout the 90s with Full House, and then Fuller House, which came on all the way up until this past year, or till not this past year, but all the way up to 2020. Bob Saget was also a comedian, damn funny one too. Definitely some edgy material, but you know, still, he was a good comedian. Found dead in his Orlando hotel room. Now I will tell you that preliminary autopsy reports, it's not the complete autopsy report, but they haven't given us an actual cause of death. I'm not necessarily that concerned about an actual cause of death. He wasn't on drugs, you know, and he's gone. So that would be Betty White, Sidney Poitier, and now our man. They say it happens in threes. Well, there's your 3. It's kind of unfortunate that we actually, most of us all have that mental statistic stuck in our head. But, folks, tonight I will say goodnight and end on this. I will say that I used to enjoy watching Full House. I got a kick out of it. You know, I thought it was funny. I thought the bits in it were hokey, but they were funny. You know, they really were, and they usually had a message of some kind. So in the end, with all the jokes aside, it was still a message. And you know, I kind of miss shows where they had some kind of a message there and not trying to shove some kind of an agenda down your throat. You know, I miss those shows. So Bob, gonna miss you, man. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, Mass A, and end it on this. Have yourselves a good night. But tonight we remember Robert Bob Saget, 1956 to 2022. Good night.